Neil Magny is taking on the surging Carlos Prates in this week's UFC main event. Let's get into it. It's going to be a quick one. Neil Magny is 37. He has 29 wins, 12 losses. He has 191 centimeters tall, 203 centimeters in reach. We compare that to Carlos Prates, who has 198 centimeters in reach and 185 centimeters tall. So shorter in reach and in terms of arm length. Carlos Prates is 31, 6 years younger, and 20 wins, 6 defeats. Carlos Prates is coming off of a string of knockouts, beating Contender Series scrub Mitch Ramirez, then beating Contender Series scrub Trevin Giles, then beating Contender Series scrub Charles Rotke, and then beating a legitimate, pretty good contender in the welterweight division who is on the decline in Li Jingliang. Now he's fighting Neil Magny. Neil Magny has had some ups, he's had some downs. Where is he right now? Well, in 2020, he beats Robbie Lawler by just grappling him. Then he gets out-grappled by Michael Chiesa. Then he tries to grapple Jeff Neal and actually does out-grapple him and wins there. Then he fights Max Griffin, wins by split decision in a pretty crazy pace of a fight. Gets guillotine choked by Shavkat Rakhmonov in round 2. Then fights Daniel Rodriguez in a really crazy back-and-forth fight. And eventually he does choke him out in round number 3. Against Gilbert Burns, he was triangle choked in round 1, just run over. Against Phil Rowe, he was looking very good. Phil Rowe was looking very good in round 1. Then he started to slow down as Neil Magny was able to wear on him. Ian Machado Gary just schooled Neil Magny, kicked his legs out from underneath him immediately, and defended all of the takedowns Magny had. Mike Malott also schooling Neil Magny, but eventually in round number 3, he completely gassed out, and Magny was able to get on top and TKO him. Against Michael Morales, he was knocked out in round 1, ground and pounded. The referee stepped in. So what do we see here? Well, we do see a pattern of Neil Magny getting his ass handed to him early in fights, and if he can survive these beatings, then he will eventually come back. He does have generally better cardio than a lot of his opponents, and as a result of that, we see these either close split decisions where he's winning rounds 2 and 3, or TKOs late into the fight, such as this Daniel Rodriguez submission, such as this Mike Malott TKO. What does Carlos Prates bring to the table? Well, he brings to the table fairly educated striking. Straight left, knocking out Mitch Ramirez in round number 2. Straight left, knocking out Trevin Giles in round number 2. Knee to the body, TKOing Charles Radke with a body shot. The left hook, knocking out Li Jingliang in round number 2. He has very good striking. So essentially the question is Prates' striking going to be enough to put Neil Magny down before Neil Magny can really tire him out? And if it gets into like round 3, then you do have to give the edge to Neil Magny because he is the veteran. He's been in there before. He's seen everything. He knows how to wear on people. But I just cannot go with Neil Magny. I think he's taken too much damage. He's too susceptible to getting beaten up now. The tools that Carlos Prates has, the body kicks, the left straights, the left hooks, the leg kicks, all of these are going to line up extremely well against Neil Magny, who is there to be hit. I mean, Ian Machado Gary basically TKO'd him with the leg kicks in round number 1. And we also have seen that Neil Magny's grappling is starting to be less and less effective. Like, he wasn't able to grapple Michael Moraes. Michael Moraes landed that elbow, which ended up being the downfall for Neil Magny and leading to the ground and pound. We've seen so many guys like style on Neil Magny through the striking and Neil Magny just surviving, but I think there is going to be a limit. I'm going to say Carlos Prates, round 2, TKO. I think he's going to hit Magny with some big shots and then start pounding on him, and the referee's going to step in. Anyway, guys, short and sweet prediction. Not the best fight card this weekend, but next weekend we have John Jones versus Stipe Miocic, so stay tuned. That's going to be super fun.